What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Jack Ramsays pregame show. Danny Marang, Brandon Sprague. Well, Blazers take on the Lakers tonight in a battle for ping pong ball supremacy. They are only 3 games ahead, quote-unquote, of the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Blazers announced they have officially made the trade with the Utah Jazz officially official. Joe Ingles is a Trailblazer, which before the season I would be like, that's pretty rad. Now I'm like, it's kind of sad. So, Brandon, you're muted. It's you this time.
Damn it.
You're there. How you doing, buddy?
Well, I started off muted, so not great. Yeah, Ingles definitely a dude I would have loved if he was healthy. He would have filled a lot of voids I think this team has needed. Unfortunately, he got hurt, and you really feel bad, I think, for a guy like Ingles. Like, we realize he's never playing a second in a Portland uniform. But 1, we still get to claim him. And 2, I actually feel bad for guys like that. I'm not a Utah Jazz fan. In fact, I kind of hate the Utah Jazz. But I can appreciate players that love being with certain teams. And whether I hate the team or not doesn't matter. And I felt for him today. He tweeted as much out. He was like, super sad day. This sucks. Not shocked it got to this, but still rooting for his guys. And I thought that was pretty cool. But we get to claim Joe Ingles as a one-time Blazer.
It's gonna be a weird 24 hours between now and the trade deadline.
Where are you at on this? Where are we at? Because it started off, I think, with you and I feeling like, oh, we can kind of see this, and a lot of people going, "What are we doing?"
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of slowed a little bit. They made this trade today, obviously, and I think that's an indicator they're trying to set something up. But I'm not wavering in any way. But I am starting to wonder, are they going to be able to get done what they're aiming to get done?
Just want to confirm this. I heard this a couple hours ago, but it has now gone public. Larry Nance is getting knee surgery.
But Danny, I thought it was inflammation.
I'm so sick and tired of this freaking team. So sick and tired of it.
They knew what this injury was the minute that
so
they got
sick and tired of it. So tired of it. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. God, this team. All right, so let's kind of recap real quick where we're at right now.
Okay.
Portland Trailblazers have made a ton of moves, clearing a ton of cap space, loading up on assets. Where they sit right now is they have got the first-round pick from the New Orleans Pelicans, which is protected between 1 and 4 and outside the lottery. So 5 and 14 it is theirs. They have their own pick if it lands inside the lottery. They cannot trade their own pick unless they remove the protections on that pick owed to the Chicago Bulls. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, now, they have added Josh Hart, Elijah Hughes, legally, Eric Bledsoe, Keon Johnson, Didi Louzada. Am I forgetting anybody else? I'm going off the top of my head right now. I think the paperwork is in on all those guys.
I think that's it so far.
Okay. So, that is a ton of guards. They still need to figure out a lot of things. And let's kind of roll back with where I had heard things were going to go. That the major moves were not going to come until this summer. That they would opt to try to chase a Jeremy Grant if it was available at the deadline. Mm-hmm. And then I had heard yesterday that they were definitely going to go after him. I just saw something else that came out from Jake Fisher that just a little bit ago that the Pistons they're firmly committed to keeping Jeremy Grant, which that means we want our price, and
yep.
they have said 2 first-round picks. Ultimately, I do not believe they're going to get 2 first-round picks for Jeremy Grant. I don't.
Well, Portland can't be trading 2 first-round picks for Jeremy Grant,
and they won't. I don't believe that they're going to do that. But again, I had heard that move was going to come this summer.
Mm-hmm.
This was going to be we show of good faith. This is what this looks like. Here's a real player,
Mm-hmm.
Have a little bit of faith when they say, trust me. It's not like, trust me. I promise I won't screw you over like Neil. And that's why I've consistently maintained August 1st. That's when I'm going to judge this team. That's when I'm going to judge this roster. That's when I'm going to judge all of these moves. Because right now, it doesn't look great.
It's well, here's the thing. I said that for me, they really needed to make that CJ trade.
Yes, and that was the one that you and I had agreed on. Like if they got that deal done,
that tells me they're trying.
Yes,
they're trying something. Now, will they be able to land Grant in the next 12 o'clock
hours?
Tomorrow? 15 hours. Hopefully, Detroit kind of just gets to a point where they're like, okay, Jeremy wants to go play with Damian. Yeah, we'll take that. Whatever that ends up being. I don't know what that package would include. Gambling and saying one of the two firsts, maybe not. I don't know. By their price tag, I think you could assume that. Maybe that's safe to say. But I'm going to be real curious to see if they're not able to land Grant at the deadline, and they got all this cap space, and we know how bad they're going to get, or they already are.
Yeah.
Fan reaction to me isn't always indicative of how to feel about things, right? But I am going to be curious to see the reaction from the fans if they don't end up landing a Jeremy Grant.
Yeah, no, they're going to kill him.
Oh, absolutely.
They're going to get absolutely. They're going to get buried 100%.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Adam Croy says that is not what you said. WTF, Adam? Buddy, there's a couple hours worth of me talking about this. I have said exactly this.
Wait, which part?
All of this, the whole situation about how they had loaded up and that they were going to pursue Jeremy Grant, hopefully in the summer. Yeah. Brandon, have I said that?
Yeah, in fact we disagreed. I told you that I needed to see
you needed to see this, and that
real
was
movements
something
by the 10th, and you said August 1st, and I said, that's a long time.
That's kind of where I have landed, is that they have pursued Jeremy Grant 100%. I know for a fact that they have pursued Jeremy Grant, unquestionably.
But I think part of the problem you're running into, I think some of the opinion you're going to get coming at what you're saying though is Henry Abbott released a piece 3 hours ago, basically painting again that Damian Lillard is potentially going to want to leave. Yeah. And so if you look at the roster as constructed, it's 9 or 10 guards. It's now for some people, Damian Lillard's going to want to leave. And here we go. I'm not going to bash any writer. Henry's writing this piece. He wants to dive into the Dame waters again. Godspeed to him. He did it last summer. It didn't work. But if he wants to write that piece, good luck. You know what I mean? Like, go do that. But I think that's what people are seeing right now is no real player acquisition, tons of cap space, which means nothing to this fan base because free agency doesn't exist to them. And then, Damian Lillard's going to ask out according to Henry Abbott. Like, I think you pile those things on each other. And then when you simply say, well, I'm going to wait till the summer, you're going to get pushback on that. No matter how you feel about it, you're going to get a pushback on it.
What I've been told as far as it pertains to Damian Lillard, and this has been backed up by a lot of sources that I trust, is that Dame's preference is to stay in Portland. That he would rather stay here. That he's going to give them an opportunity to step up to the plate and take a swing. That's a real thing. I don't doubt that for one bit. Not one bit. Beyond that? Because you and I have talked about this before, going into last summer. The idea of that power struggle and how it kind of got ugly and things went sideways. Not a good situation, but Dame looked at other situations.
Yep.
Dame said it himself, flat out. That's not like a secret. That's not like, oh, you're reading the tea leaves. You're reading too much in this. No, Dame's explicitly has said he had. That's there for everybody. Spend 5 seconds going and searching that. So, do I think Dame is leaving? No. Do I think if we're a year from right now and substantial moves haven't been made that this next summer he could be like, all right, I'm out? Yes, absolutely.
So,
but I maintained that last year.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Well, I'd forgotten where I'd seen this, but I'm reading an aggregate, so apologies here because I know how people feel about the aggregators out there. But this is an interview via NBA.com, and I saw it on the Central Twitter account, and it was Dame talking about staying in Portland. And it was, quote, "For me, my heart is a Portland Trailblazer. I want to win it. I know that I have a plan that's going to put me on my best level when I come back to play, and I want our team to fit that."
I believe him.
I mean,
I believe him.
It's been a decade of him saying that, and
it's been a decade of him saying exactly what he means and then following up on it.
I just think there's so much uncertainty right now about like who they're talking to and who they're willing to maybe move again, or what they're doing. I think there's so much uncertainty right now. And I said this yesterday when we went was that yesterday we went live? God, all these days.
Yes. We just did
That's right.
the pre or the post. We just did the hour long.
So I said this yesterday.
Yeah.
I said, this is not fun for everybody, right? But I've maintained that there's a lot of people that wanted to trade CJ, and there's a lot of people that were like, blow this up. This is not working. And then the minute they traded Norm and CJ and didn't get back all NBA players, it was, what a stupid trade. What the hell are they doing? Why would you do this? And I understand that frustration to a certain extent. But if you're not going to allow the team to show you in the next couple months, I don't know what to tell you. You were always going to be mad. Whether that was they keeping CJ McCollum and continuing to be a first-round exit, or trading CJ McCollum and not getting back what you expected to get back. Like, I heard this a lot. I heard Amin Al-Hassan. That's all they got for CJ McCollum. I should have gotten more than that. Should you?
Yeah, I thought that was a little weird. I'm like,
$35 million a year for a dude who doesn't make an all-star team, doesn't play defense, and can't really run an offense? So it's like, I think you got a mixture of feelings right now with people, and this team sucks. They're also really, really bad. They might be the worst team in the NBA today. They have Detroit in a couple weeks.
I was saying they've got Detroit, but I was saying, and then I was like, oh, they lost.
Cade Cunningham can beat this team. He definitely could beat this team. So I think it's a mixed bag, Danny, of, hey, yesterday they made these moves, and then we did our pod, and we basically were just like, let's breathe, let this stuff cook a little bit. And then less than 24 hours later, another trade with no acquiring real asset, and it was like, they're purposely trying to drive Dame out. Like, that's kind of the feeling, I think, with some people right now, and I think it's because you didn't get back what you expected.
Yeah, and Adam brings up another point here about the situation as like far as how what makes sense, and he said Dame has to have someone convinced to come this offseason, right? That's my belief.
I mean, that's his goal.
I mean, they don't have, like, this free agent class is not good.
No,
it's you're not fundamentally changing this team and like raising them up by straight free agent acquisition. You're having somebody force their way out, or somebody is forcing their way out somewhere else. Right. Like, the straight line to draw is Ben Simmons. James Harden goes to free agency, and the Nets don't want to deal with it, and the Nets end up helping do a sign and trade to facilitate Harden's deal, and the Blazers hop in as a third team and they absorb Ben Simmons. That's the straight line to draw. Outside of that, I keep hearing they're going big game hunting. They're after a big fish. No one will name names.
Obviously.
No one will name names right now. And I have to believe that the recruiting aspect of it, the chase down of this, that is what happens this summer. Otherwise, Dame's just out there saying stuff, and then in a year, once he gets his extension, he's gone. I don't see a world where they strip this thing down to the guts, and he's here next summer. Not the summer in 3 months. I'm talking like 15 months from now. If they strip this thing down to the guts and that's it, and they just kind of they OKC this thing, listen, he has 107 million reasons to stay, but those same reasons can come from anybody else.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
but you also have taken this into account, and I was thinking about this earlier. Are they better suited to strip it down, like in what your hypothetical is, to run the OKC thing, which I don't think, again, this city wants. This city
will not tolerate it. I'm almost certain of it.
No matter what they tell you on Twitter, they will not handle that. Or is the owner, who's probably going to sell in 2 or 3 years, is she better suited to allow Joe Cronin to go all in and go get who he can to make this team an actual viable, good team in the Western Conference? Because we know that as soon as this team gets really good again, if they can get to that point. It's a money
printing machine even when things aren't going well. When it's going good Lord.
But Danny, I mean, when you're selling a franchise, is it better to sell it when it's succeeding or when it's completely failing? For the buyer, it's when it's failing. So,
sure.
There's financial incentives here too. And I'm not saying they won't strip it down at some point. They may try to run some variation of a team with Dame back next year. And it very well could not work. Like the idea that this was going to have to be, you got to win a championship. That maybe is possible, but that's hard to see right now. And right. Okay. But my point is, it almost, there's an element I've gotten from some people in my life that it's like, you traded CJ and then they expected a championship roster yesterday. And I just want to be like, why did you think that? Why was that going through your mind that you were going to get a non-all-star player to swap in and get all-star level players? They might still do it, but it's entirely possible this team's not great next year, or they come up short of what they want and Dame leaves. I think we've known that's a possibility.
I've resigned myself to it entirely.
Well, I think the fans did too in the summertime, but then, he came back and now it's like win, 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 get the great players. But if you don't do that right away, I think you get frustration.
Over the next 15 hours, everyone's going to freak out. They're going to panic. As much as that report from Jake Fisher that, hey, things are shut down on Jeremy Grant. That everything for the next 15 hours is a smokescreen until the deal's done.
Absolutely.
I believe nothing that goes public. Absolutely nothing. The other part of this is I've heard things that were dead have come back to life. So I've heard the Raptors have kicked around Yusuf Nurkic again, which I was told again 24 hours ago was a dead. There was no chance of that happening. So,
but do they want to trade him? Because I'll tell you right now, I had a Detroit guy on my radio show this morning, and he basically said they need a center and they want a center bad. And I said Yusuf Nurkic, and he was basically like, if they threw Yusuf Nurkic in, they would do that deal. So if you're not getting Jeremy Grant, are you not including Yusuf Nurkic? Is that the hang up here? And if that's the case, man, that's the one area
they
I tell
need to
Joe,
get
like, come on.
But the thing is, they do need a body. They need a legit body.
Yes.
And they don't have anybody, and they don't have any way to acquire that body between now and then. That's the problem. And they're giving up an asset in Yusuf Nurkic on top of more assets. They're not right now. I don't think they're in the business of giving up any more player assets. Like they can't do like 2-for-1s. Now, if the Raptors came calling and I don't know, Kem Birch or Precious Achiuwa was in a deal where they got or Chris Boucher, a functional body that could play out the rest of the season kind of a deal.
Chris Boucher.
I think Boucher's fine.
He's a good role player.
I'd rather lean towards Precious just because it kind of fits like more what they want to do. But again, if you go down that road, that's kind of how it goes, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see what they actually do or don't do between now and then. But again, I've been hammering this home since the beginning. I think the biggest thing that's going to happen is once those ping pong balls are set, once those lottery odds are set, that's when the real action starts. I think that's when it gets all of a sudden the reality if Portland ends up a top 4 pick. You're going, For everybody who keeps asking about the team selling, I don't think there's any difference between the team being functionally fantastic and a title contender or stripped down to the Orlando Magic.
You don't think there's any financial difference at all?
I think it's going to sell for $2.5 billion no matter what.
Okay.
I just listen. Like these things don't come up for sale.
No, it's an exclusive club,
and they're money printing machines. Mm-hmm. Who's the last team to genuinely go up for sale? Timberwolves.
T-Wolves.
And they got how much was it again?
It was 600 million.
No, it was more than that.
$1 billion. 1.1.
Hold on.
1.5.
1.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would put a valuation on the Trailblazers much higher than the Timberwolves.
Definitely.
So, and actually, NBA team valuations.
Well, if you get that Forbes list, I think that Forbes list is always kind of bullshit.
It is, but it does give a relatively decent point of view. Because let's see. I want to see Minnesota because I want to see what they actually are. Their total was $1.6 billion, and their valuation was 1.5. So they sold above market value.
Yeah.
Like, again, these things are money printing machines. And the last time I looked, Portland was valued at like 2.2. And I don't know if that includes the additional land that they have the lease through the city with at Memorial Coliseum as well as Moda. And obviously the Trailblazers own the buildings, both buildings there. So the revenue that comes in there from concerts and all that kind of stuff. Rough roundabout way. I don't think it matters. When it comes, like it may functionally make difference at the bottom end of like whether it's another million, 2 million, 5 million, which in the grand scheme of things is still millions of dollars. But I don't think it changes it from like 2 billion to 2.5 billion. You know what I mean? I don't think we're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars.
Right.
And when the team goes up for sale, we're not going to hear about it. When teams go up for sale until they're sold, we don't hear about it. That's Paul Allen was just the owner one day. You remember that? Like, it was just done. It was like, oh, okay, that's a thing, huh? So,
I don't remember that. I was a little too young.
No, that's okay. The other part of this is like, look at the Clippers. Their organization goes up for sale simply because of scandal.
Right.
Like, you just don't see these opportunities come all that often.
That was the mind blowing one. That was the moment everybody went, whoa. These teams are worth what? Yeah. Ballmer came in and was like, here's $2 billion for the second rate LA team that shares a building with the LA team.
And they were awful. And they had nobody at their games. And it still got that money. And that was
I still can't believe he hasn't moved that team to Seattle. What a joke.
Inglewood, baby. But I say all this to say, if that's going to happen, I just don't think fundamentally it's going to make that big of a difference.
Okay.
Let's get into this game real quick. LeBron James is going to give it a go up until, I think, basically they hand in lineups. That's what it sounds like. Anthony Davis is going to give it a go. Unfortunately for the Trailblazers tonight, I thought we were going to get a chance to see Josh Hart, a guy who looks like he's going to factor into the short term for sure, but probably in the intermediary. I think he is part of this team kind of going forward. His guarantee on his contract makes it an interesting situation. But I think they would like to keep him. Right? Like, that sounds about right?
I mean, I'd like Josh Hart, but if you told me he was going to be involved in another move, I think he kind of prepared for that at this point.
It's kind of funny. I've talked to other people about Josh Hart on other teams, and all of them say, I'd like to have Josh Hart in whatever move. And I'm like, yeah, that's the one viable player Portland has gotten back in all this stuff. It makes sense. So,
I'm wondering what. God, it's 18 hours from right now, and I have no idea what's going to happen. And I think that's wild. Like,
I love the smoke screens.
I mean, the smoke screens are all over the place right now. You got Woj saying one thing and Brian Windhorst saying another, and it's just like, oh man, like people are talking right now. And I'm really keeping my fingers crossed. The CJ trade was important to me because you have to move on from that era. But I'm fingers crossed that they can pull Grant off before noon tomorrow.
Yeah, I hope they do. I hope they can. I do have faith that they can, but there's nothing that precludes them from revisiting it again this summer.
Well, no, but I'm coming from the.
It definitely looks a lot better.
They're gonna get reamed. They're gonna get reamed if you get nothing.
Oh, the second that 12:01 hits.
And there was nothing.
And there's still more deals trickling in, and like, okay, and then like 1 o'clock hits, and you're like, that's it. They didn't get anything else.
Yeah.
They are going to get crushed.
Oh yeah,
crushed.
People are doing Deion Sanders high stepping into the end zone type celebrations that precluded.
I told you they're stripping it down. The team's for sale.
Dame's leaving. Yeah. The team's for sale.
The sky is falling. It's all going to happen.
Yep.
You know what else is going to happen in the short term? The Portland Trailblazers are going to play the Los Angeles Lakers.
Hopefully lose the Los Angeles Lakers.
Well, I mean, the line tonight, have you looked yet?
No. What is it? Lakers -2. Portland -3.
Blazers +8.5.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it's on that side, buddy.
Well, Anthony Davis could easily win this game by himself.
He did last time.
Yes, he did.
And LeBron's probably going to play. Over under of 222. Portland hasn't been able to score in 3 weeks, so I'm not.
I'm taking the under. I'm taking the under.
straight up, it's there plus 280. I took some props, some single props, because you could not same game parlay player props today.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know what that's about.
Probably because they're looking at this roster right now going, yeah, we're not touching that. So I took a couple Anthony Simons props because I think AD is going to hammer them in the paint, but I think Ant is going to get up a few more shots tonight.
This is it's a little revenge for me. Like Anthony Simons kind of owes me here because the last game, remember they played, I had a four-leg parlay and he fouled.
Oh, that's right. Oh,
Malik
God, it was
Monk
wonderful.
with 0.9 seconds. It was not wonderful.
Your meltdown was, the playback shows, we actually capture those. And I can actually go back and grab that. So I might have to go back and grab that.
Please don't do that to me. I'm going to relive losing that $4. I can't even find the game. It's not on DraftKings right now.
Did they take it down?
They took it down.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah, they're probably looking at that like, I'm not touching that. It'd be hilarious if somebody was getting traded right now, and so they're like, nah.
So LeBron's definitely going because I just saw he was game time decision.
No, game time decision, which means he's gonna give it a go up until game time.
Okay.
Let me see if there's any more updates, injuries. Yeah, no other updates yet. Only thing I've got is the Josh Hart rest is out. Rest is out for the Blazers. So there we go. That's kind of where we're at right now, guys. It's a standstill for the next 15 hours.
How's the chat doing? How are people doing right now?
Well, they're mostly losing their minds a little bit, which I get it. And you and I have talked about this off air a bunch. I expected people to be very pissed. It's just, that's the nature of this.
Well, I feel like it's I feel like it might be a mixture of frustrations built into one thing. It's they made zero moves that mattered last summer. They made zero moves the year before. They've kept on.
I mean, it's 5 years.
I mean, it really is pent up, and you add what the season is and the injury to Dame and all of these trades getting you back largely no real players of significance outside of Josh Hart, and here you go.
And that's, again, and then you had good news in Anthony Simons, and you had good news in Nasir Little, and then even that was kind of snatched away from you with Nasir separating or tearing his labrum. It's just like, and how it goes. Evan says, what do you want me to say to CJ tomorrow on NOLA?
I heard Evan's got great seats if he's behind the bench. I don't know. If I was in that position, I'd probably just say, thanks. That was a fun ride. It wasn't everybody's favorite ride, but it was a fun ride.
CJ talking cash shit was probably my favorite thing about him when he did it. The problem was he never really did it where we could get it on camera. He was really good at hiding it. Everybody I've ever talked to over the years has said that CJ was the one that talked the most shit on the floor. Hands down.
Hey, I feel like he could have evolved into that Draymond role a little bit more, but he largely didn't. He just kind of...
Well, I think part of that is...
picking and choosing.
Is he the president of the NBA PA?
Oh, lacing him up, the presidency goes out the window.
I mean, Chris Paul Cliff Paul'd it for a long time.
You're not wrong there. But the Evan Fournier thing, God bless the crepes comment.
It's softer than the crepes that you eat.
Oh, so good.
And Casey Holdall shared a memory the other day of talking about, you can't fucking stop me. What did he say, Casey? Word for word.
What did I say? But Casey, what did I say? And you could see how excited Casey was to be able to say fucking on an interview question.
So it was fun. It was really fun. The live show, the watch party will go on. Like I said, those will go on for the rest of the season. We'll have you guys covered for every single game. So once we wrap up here, I'm going to go get dinner ready. And then, okay, interesting. Sorry. We'll get the live show or watch party up and going. We'll be back for the post-game show. Depending on what happens tonight, on what intel I get, we might do a deadline show tomorrow. Maybe.
Well, I mean, it's the live show too. So.
Well, yes. I mean, if we'll do I'm talking about a deadline show like at the deadline.
Oh, you mean like right at noon?
Yeah. So, we'll you and I can talk, and then I'll let people know in the morning, kind of a situation where we sit. If I get a little bit more, it's smokescreen season, so we'll see how much concrete stuff we have to work on. If I think there's going to be maybe a little bit more action for Portland, we'll do one. If not, we'll hold it till Thursday afternoon. So. Again, thank you all. We appreciate you. We love you. Like, rate, review, subscribe. Help us grow the show. Thank you to the 200 people that have subscribed to the channel over the past 24 hours. It's been our busiest day so far in the first, 6 months of the show. So really appreciate you guys. Again, if you're watching here live, please click subscribe. It's free. It's easy. It helps us grow. If you want to click notifications, then when we go on, great. That's awesome. If you don't, I don't blame you. I hate push notifications. But if you're listening on the podcast side of things, if you leave us a review, we would really, really appreciate it. Outside of that, we will catch you guys in the watch party. If you are one of the members, I'll post a link here shortly. Outside of that, we will catch you guys for the post-game show. And until then, take